What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Crown Cinema Podcast. In this episode, we are breaking down
and literally just watched, man,
the Big Lebowski. The dude abides.
Dude abides. Isn't that crazy? Like that this movie just starts a whole, what'd you say? It started a whole religion.
A religion, basically.
A religion, like this.
Dudism.
When you think of cult classic movies, I feel like this is up. Like
No,
this is the number one.
This is the cult classic movie.
Yeah.
People dress up as him. So, Dudism is a modern philosophy and religion inspired by the movie The Big Lebowski that emphasizes taking it easy, embracing the simple pleasures of life, and living in harmony with oneself and others.
It sounds so peaceful, but I feel like his character he's a little bit more chaotic than people give him credit for.
Well, I don't think he's chaotic. He's just being put in all these chaotic situations that he has no business being in.
For sure. But like he's not just always like all peace and love and harmony. I feel like there are plenty of times where you see the dude a little stressed out.
Yeah.
But I like that. Because you know what? It's not so much that he's stressed out, it's that he's frustrated because he's like, stop putting me in these situations. I want to go home and smoke weed and like not do anything. So he's really just getting annoyed, if anything.
Yeah. Yeah, he's so frustrated because the movie's good because it's like Jeff Bridges crushes the chilled, laid back guy. Like I feel like what's that movie with McConaughey where he's like the stoner beach bum guy? Beach bum, right?
I don't think
I haven't seen it either.
Wait. No. I have seen it. He's like an author.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
I've just seen clips of him.
It is this character. It is pretty much this character.
But it's like it's trying to be this character. Nobody does it better than Jeff Bridges in this movie, but I think it's because of the way they tell the story, because the dude, again, just wants to take life easy. He's just chilling. He doesn't want any stress. His biggest stressor in the world and the thing that he tries to, sets him on his journey is his rug gets stolen.
Yeah.
His harmony of his life, his simple, easygoing life gets taken from him. And so you have to watch the chill guy who truly is the most incompetent man to ever do this, like the investigation detective work. Like he doesn't give a fuck. He's like so incompetent. He's so incompetent that he can't even communicate with his friends correctly. He's like, man, God.
What do you mean? What's the? There was no. We didn't. They're gonna kill that poor woman, man.
He's like always like backtracking.
He's always just like, fucking, come on, man.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
So that's the way they throw that character through the story, and having all these people force him to do things just reveal his true philosophy of life, because you just realize he doesn't really care about this stuff. He's doing it because he feels like he has to, because people are kind of forcing him to do stuff.
Yeah.
Like all the characters, you just watch him get put in this very complex conspiracy. Like the storyline in the background that's like sending the dude on this adventure is very complex. And there's like a lot of layers to it.
Yeah.
But the dude he's not involved in it. Like he doesn't really care about the complexities of it. Like at the ending of the movie, it just kind of wraps up and we don't even know what happened with the whole conspiracy deal. Like we kind of do.
When it was ending, I just remember, because this was my first real time watching it.
Yeah, you watched it like 3 times and didn't even get past like the first 10 minutes, maybe.
Not 3 times.
Twice?
No, just the one time.
Oh.
Yeah. No, you might be thinking of a different movie that I was talking about.
Okay.
I put this movie on one time, and it was just one of those like, I don't know if I really feel like watching a movie, but I'm going to try it out. And I didn't even make it to him meeting the Big Lebowski.
Yeah. I remember you saying, I don't like that movie. And I'm like, dude, what?
Yeah. Or I was like, I don't know. Like it just didn't grab me right away. But I think now that was kind of done with intention.
Right.
And it was like, dude, you can either stick around for the dude or not. He doesn't care.
Yep.
And, so whenever this movie was ending, I was like, wait, no shot they're about to end it like this.
It's like
they're not wrapping anything up, but then you kind of just sit there and you're thinking about it. You're like, well, of course they didn't wrap anything up. This whole movie, every day, like the stakes are supposed to be getting higher, and every day you see the dude just reset. Like he wakes up the next day after accomplishing basically nothing the day before. And he's just like, all right, like, I think we're done. Like, I think it's wrapped up. I doubt they need me anymore. And he like keeps getting brought back in like a fish in a small pond.
Everybody's just using him.
Yeah. And he's just like, come on, man. Like, what do you keep calling me for? Like, and it's funny. He's like a very self-aware and stubborn character to the sense of, this movie's absolutely like poking fun at nihilism.
Yeah.
Which I'm a big fan of because I feel like we have seen that in the media or just like through content for a long time in our lives. Like we've seen a lot of people say like they put so much work into saying that everything's meaningless.
Right.
Whereas the dude is actually not trying to say that. He's just the living embodiment of what that actually is supposed to look like on paper.
Well, he's not a nihilist because it's not like he doesn't believe in anything. Like he cares about a few things.
That's what I'm saying is like nihilism is supposed to be like life is meaningless. So really it's because of that. Like you have to make whatever you do care about really matter. So he's like, well, I don't care about getting a job.
Yep.
I care about bowling with my friends. Like that's what I want my life to be.
Even more to the dude. The dude's in a bowling league, bowls. The bowling is like a forefront in the movie's plot. Like they're always at the bowling alley, but you never once see the dude bowl. He never once throws a ball down the lane.
Wait, what?
He never does. The whole movie, never once. He's always sitting down. Either, dude, can you mark that down? Even like, he doesn't even involve himself in the bowling because I think the first shot, whenever Donny gets a strike, like, hey, dude, can you mark that?
I'm throwing rocks tonight. Mark it, dude.
And the dude sits back and doesn't mark it. And Donny goes up and marks it.
That's funny. I didn't even realize
the dude just goes with the flow. So what I was saying with like the whole religion and the philosophy being born from the movie, it makes sense because they just show this philosophy and they stretch it. They stretch the philosophy to it's like, not like they stretch the philosophy out the most they can by putting him in the complex story to where he really has to test his philosophy and he's always just trying to go back to living easy. Normally in a movie, it's about like a character changing. This movie, it's a character being put in a situation that's forcing him to change and all he's trying to do is just go back to his baseline.
Yeah. That's why, again, I'm such a big fan of this because he's stubborn. He's like, fuck off.
Yeah, he's stubborn in his ways of taking it easy.
It's like essentially like telling the writers, the audience, everybody, he's like, leave me alone. Like, I don't want to be the main character of anyone's story. I just want to sit back and hang, smoke some weed.
Yep. Have an acid flashback. Every once in a while, he's mentioned this to Maud after they just had sex.
What do you do for the recreation?
Oh, the usual. Bowl, drive around, the occasional acid flashback.
Dude, yeah, how about that? I finally just looked up, who I knew the Coen Brothers directed this, but then seeing that Roger Deakins was the cinematographer of this movie, because it is interesting. Obviously, those scenes were so much fun and like just beautifully shot and just so out of nowhere.
Which ones?
All the like acid trippy shots.
The dream sequences when he gets knocked out and then drugged.
Yes, bro. Like you're just watching that and you're like, where did this come from? They've been in a bowling alley for like 90% of this movie. I can't even tell if they're in the 60s or the 90s.
Yeah.
You got Walter just talking about Vietnam in every single scene he's in. And then all of a sudden you have some of the most beautiful shots that you've seen on camera and in this movie.
Right.
In this movie.
It's funny because when you explain this movie to somebody who's never seen it and you're trying to get them to watch it, explaining the plot is the dumbest story you could ever explain.
You did do that to me. You were just like, yeah, man, nothing really happened. And I was like, oh, I don't want to watch that.
It's about a stoner hippie who gets his rug stolen, which then causes him to get in this giant conspiracy with the kidnapping, with some fraud, with the charity that's trying to embezzle money, and then nothing really happens at the end. Like, it's just this guy hanging out. It's like the plot is just so stupid, but it's so entertaining because it's funny watching the dude be in these like places he has no business being in. Like this storyline, it's like, because one of the things that people talk about the movie is that it's basically a noir movie.
Yeah, he's clearly supposed to be this detective.
it's like a subversion of the genre because there's all the genre tropes, but it doesn't look like a noir. Like the tropes are, it's common in a noir movie that a rich man will hire a detective to go and find his missing wife, which happens in this movie. But the dude's not a detective. He just like is forced to be a detective, the most incompetent detective of all time. Doesn't really care about what's going on.
Yeah.
The Big Lebowski, the title of it is also a callback to old noir movies. There's like a few noir movies that are called. The big one that it kind of took inspiration from is called The Big Sleep. That's an old school noir movie. There's also there's a few of them called The Big Heat, The Big Combo, The Big Bluff.
Oh, wow.
That's like a trend. They're trying to make the noir story bigger than it is, right? To draw audiences, like The Big Sleep, The Big this, right? So The Big Lebowski.
That's so funny.
There's a femme fatale in the movie. You think it's Maud. It's not Maud. She's not the femme fatale. It's Bunny. She's the femme fatale. So that's a noir trope there. In noirs, the way this movie ends, it's common to how noirs end because usually in a noir movie, it kind of like wraps up and it doesn't feel complete because the whole point of a noir is showing how bad society is and how it's actually worse than you think. So like at the end, it kind of just wraps up and you realize there's actually more problems now than there was before.
Yeah.
And so similar kind of ending here to where it wraps up and you're kind of like, but damn, that was it. Like, but they didn't really, a lot of stuff happened. Donny died. He got drugged. Like, there's this whole conspiracy with the Big Lebowski and the Big Lebowski is, by the way, the rich Lebowski.
Not the dude.
The dude's not the Big Lebowski.
Of course, because the dude is just like, stop making it about me.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, you can't call the movie, So the ending wraps up in noir fashion. So it's basically a noir, but it's like, instead of it being this masculine womanizer, that's the detective in normal noir movies, this guy's 100% not that. He'll flirt a little bit with you. He went and blew on Bunny's toes.
But he wasn't like trying to like
he wasn't trying. He was just seeing what's up. He's literally just walking around, sees this girl, and he's like, well, I'm walking by her already. Like, why not just kind of poke around?
Because she's like, blow my toes, and he's like, what?
Huh?
It's like, blow my toes. She's like, oh, you want me to blow on your toes?
You want me to blow on your toes?
Yeah.
Okay. He doesn't like. It's not like he's like, oh yes, let me try to fuck this girl.
Yes, he's not like rubbing her feet,
seducing her
like that. Yeah, no. And then and then with the other daughter, kind of the crazy out there artist.
Yeah, Maud,
that's her name. Yeah, she's like, does the word vagina make you uncomfortable? And he's like, no, whatever.
Well, no, it's funny because she says, in that scene, she mentions, let's just go to it because I don't want to misquote it. I can't remember exactly what she says. But she's saying, does that make you uncomfortable? And he's like, oh, is that what this painting's about?
Does the female form make you uncomfortable, Mr. Lebowski?
Is that what this is a picture of?
Like, he's not worried about what she's saying because he's saying, usually men are uncomfortable when I speak like this. But he doesn't, so not uncomfortable. He just is totally cool with it that he's like, oh, is this what this painting's about? Yeah. Like he doesn't really, I'm not going to pull it up because that's basically what I was talking about. But yeah. So he just is so chill and laid back.
Yeah. There's so many just kind of out there characters too, which I get what the point of the movie is, or at least I think, is that, sometimes even when you just want to like sit back and chill, like life just can get crazy sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it's all said and done, there are times in your life where things get so crazy, so out of control, and then you're left with your thought of what just happened? Like, why did that happen? And then life just kind of keeps going on.
Yeah.
There was nothing to be gained. There was no message. There was no learning experience from it. So I get that the movie's just like, yeah, this is just something that happened to the dude and he didn't learn from it. People died. But essentially, nothing really changed here.
No.
Not for the dude.
It's funny, too, because of the dude's character, in order to really dive into this philosophy of just the laid-back hippie guy, the dudism philosophy, the movie is actually very rich with symbolism. There's like a lot of deep themes in the movie, but the dude's not invested in the themes. Like, there's so much, like, you could make this movie a very deep, profound movie because it talks and it hints toward a lot of these themes. But because of who the dude is, that doesn't really get delved into that much.
It doesn't get dissected.
It's just funny to add this rich symbolism and thematic things in the writing when it's just about the dude who doesn't really care about those things. Like, there's a lot of hints about masculinity because like all the men are kind of fragile men. Like the dude's not a very hardworking masculine man. Going back to what we were saying about noirs, usually the noir guy is smoking cigarettes and drinking whiskey, manly, right? But the dude smokes weed and he drinks White Russians, which a White Russian isn't like a very masculine drink. Right. It's like a dessert drink, kind of a girly type thing. So it's like
we were talking about like we would drink this at brunch with like some waffles.
Right. So it's not, he drinks those all the time. So it's hinting of the noir thing, but then turning it in the dude's version of the noir.
Yeah.
Where was I going with that? Oh, the masculinity.
Oh yeah.
Like, and then Walter's obviously a very fragile, insecure man who wants to appear as if he's this hard, tough guy because he hangs out at the bowling alley with a bunch of others like fragile men. So that he's obviously the hardest, toughest, manliest man in the crew. But he just
survived Vietnam.
Yeah, always talks about Vietnam.
Yeah, but clearly brokenhearted. Or heartbroken by his ex-wife, leaving him 5 years ago.
Well, kind of diving more into the masculinity, a lot of the women are the ones that are in power that are using all the men. Like Walter might be this appearing as if this tough Vietnam veteran who's super aggressive, but he's a pushover with his wife. Like he's watching his ex-wife's dog while her and her new boyfriend are going on vacation. The dude's like, fuck that bitch. Like, why would you do that? So
you've been divorced 5 years. So how are you possibly getting wrapped up in watching a dog?
So Walter's kind of a pushover in that sense.
Oh yeah.
And then, what I was saying with him, with all the men in the bowling alley, like he just wants to project his masculinity and toughness. So that's kind of hinting there again with the masculinity. So like that's a deep theme you can go with. And so it's just hilarious that they have these rich symbolism in the movie about the dude who doesn't give a shit about any of that. Yeah. So it's the perfect just story for this laid back lifestyle, which is why that philosophy was born from it, because it just displays the belief system so perfectly.
Yeah. Speaking of Walter, man, by far my favorite character in this movie.
That he crushes it. The guy's name is Goodman.
John Goodman?
Yeah, John Goodman. He said this is his favorite role he's ever played. He said he's had the most fun on set filming this movie than any other movie.
You can tell, bro. Like, he takes it to a whole nother level. Just the crazy outbursts, just at random points. Like, I just feel like there were so many lines that the Coen Brothers were like, you get to decide when this character blows up, but you just, let's try and like make it as it could happen at any given sentence. You could just decide to blow up whenever you want.
Yeah.
Like while you're delivering this line.
Yeah.
And he does it so perfectly because there's just so many lines where he just screams and then goes back, like it goes like flat line and then just up and then right back.
Yeah.
And it was like, wait, what? Why did he just get upset by that?
My favorite one is after he pulls the gun out on the bowler in the league when he wants him to mark an 8, but he's like, no, you crossed the line.
Yeah.
And he pulls the gun on him and starts yelling at him for breaking the rules.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't Nam. There's rules in league play.
Yeah. No, again, that is one. Well, no, see, that's one of those lines. That's by far my favorite line in this movie. That might be one of my favorite quotes in like top 10, like film. Like, this is bowling, not Nam. There are rules.
Smokey, this is not Nam. This is bowling. There are rules.
Hey.
Yeah.
And he says it so peacefully. He was like, what are you doing? Especially when you really understand what was going on in Vietnam and how many fucking crazy guys there were in helicopters just mowing people down.
We've seen Full Metal Jacket.
But
so he goes from that 100 level of not anger, but just like bringing his energy up to 100.
Yeah.
Then the next scene, whenever the dude's like pissed off at him for causing this scene, the dude's
calmer than you are.
Yeah. The dude's obviously trying to he's frustrated because Walter's trying to show his masculinity in the scene, but the dude doesn't give a fuck about it. So he's just frustrated at this like show of masculinity for no reason. But, then Walter's like, calmer than you are.
Yeah.
Calmer than you are.
Just take it easy, man.
I'm perfectly calm, dude.
Yeah, waving the fucking gun around?
Calmer than you are.
You just take it easy.
Calmer than you are.
Yeah. So he just again, just goes way up and then just right back down to where he's like, what's your problem?
Yeah. And then, you just know that frustrates the dude because he's like, no, like overall, I'm way more calm than you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't just do this to me where you're like acting calm right now as if that's how you just are normally.
Yeah, and
like,
it's funny too because
you get threatened to be kicked out of pretty much every setting we've been in this movie.
Yeah. But it's interesting because Walter's character is like an attempt at the dude's belief system. Because the dude is 100% the dude is in philosophy, but Walter seemingly tries to be that because a lot of times he'll like get really angry or like get really high tension in the scene. But then he's like, well, whatever, it's water over the bridge. It's over. It's past. So he's like letting go, kind of like how the dude just lets go, but he doesn't 100% go into that philosophy because he'll get animated and like get really charged up about something. Like another funny part with Walter whenever he's getting charged up is whenever the dude's explaining to Walter that the bunny probably kidnapped herself and this whole thing's just a fake thing, and he's like, that fucking bitch.
Yes.
Like, I didn't go to Nam for this bitch to try to steal money.
Well, she probably kidnapped herself. She owes money all over town.
Fucking
It's all
bitch.
goddamn fake, man.
that fucking bitch.
Oh, yeah.
I did not watch my buddies die face down in the muck so that this fucking strumpet, this
Walter,
fucking
I
whore
don't see any
could waltz
connection with
around town.
Vietnam, man.
He gets so heated up about something that doesn't matter. The dude's like, why do you even care about this? Like, what do you...
Yeah. Or really, he keeps building up. He was like, wait, Vietnam? Like, how did you bring Vietnam into this situation?
Yeah.
And then it just gets to every... Does he do that? I think he brings Vietnam into every single
I think almost every scene he's talking
interaction.
about, yeah.
Yeah, he somehow gets Nam. You know when he sits down with that 15-year-old kid, it's coming. You just know that that's coming. But I will say, when he's dumping Donnie's ashes, like, I was like, I don't think he's going to bring Vietnam into this one. I think because at this point, I don't understand like what the movie's going for.
Right.
You don't understand what the movie's going for until it's over. And then you're just like, okay, now I get it.
Then you
But at
watch
this
it again
point-
that second time. That second watch is delightful.
Yeah. But in this movie, first of all, like, I didn't know how long it was going into it. And so when they're dumping the ashes, I'm still thinking we have a big chunk of movie left because
Right.
I'm like, they still have so much to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Like why, we're spending a lot of time on Donnie, who just died of a heart attack, who really was not that big of a deal of a character.
No.
Like,
Well, so just one point on the masculinity deal with Donnie's character, he's surrounding himself with friends who don't seemingly care about him. And he's a big pushover. I mean, Walter's always like, shut the fuck up, Donnie.
yeah.
And everything Donnie says, nobody ever answers what he says. So his friend group is pretty shitty to him.
yeah.
But
Which is-
again, he's probably a frail man. So he just has to align with the men that he can, which are these people that put him down. But he's
Yeah.
willing to just take it just
Which
because
is
now he's a
interesting.
frail man.
Yeah, which is interesting because you would think that he would have the respect of his peers. Because I'm pretty sure every time he bowls, he hits a strike.
Except for that last one right before he dies.
Really?
Right before he dies, he bowls and one pin goes up. And it's interesting in that scene, if you watch Donnie in the background, it looks like as if he saw a bad omen.
Bro, yeah.
He starts messing with his
Yes.
arm, which is a sign of a heart attack coming. Because like usually your
Damn.
shoulder hurts or your
Yes.
arm goes numb. He's kind of like messing with his hand.
Oh my God. Because I remember I'd kind of missed. That's why I missed it. I think I had gotten up to like grab some popcorn or something.
Yeah, okay.
And then I remember like sitting back down and he was like messing with his arm. And I almost asked you, like, oh, what happened to Donnie? Like, what's wrong with him?
Yeah, that's a sign of a heart attack coming.
Wow. He didn't bowl a strike.
He didn't bowl a strike, yeah.
That's hilarious.
So it's kind of like a little, symbolism in the movie where the one time Donnie doesn't bowl a strike is whenever he sees, essentially, it looks like he sees a bad omen and then he ends up dying after that bowl.
That's funny. Maybe it wasn't even the Nazi nihilists like blowing up the car and attacking them that killed him. He just could not get it out of his head that he didn't bowl a strike.
Yeah.
That was all that really, like, none of this mattered. His friends' lives being in danger, none of that amounts to the fact that he didn't bowl a strike.
Yeah.
But back to Walter, when he's about to dump the ashes.
Yeah.
I really thought, I was like, this is going to be a nice moment. We're going to see Walter's character kind of like let go of Vietnam. He's just, he's not going to make it about Vietnam. This is strictly for Donnie, and he wants to respect his memory and how good of a bowler he was. And then he brings up Vietnam, and I'm just like, damn, Walter is never going to change, is he? And I was right.
Nope, never changes.
Nobody changes in this movie.
Nope,
Literally,
yeah.
does anybody learn anything in this movie?
No. Bunny doesn't, because she got away with it. The Big Lebowski, he's still trying to get because he's trying to embezzle the thing. Like Bunny never got kidnapped. And like the complex story that we were talking about is because the Big Lebowski is trying to use this kidnapping as an excuse to pull $1 million out of his charity fund to pay off the people, but that's really to pay off his debts because he's a failing businessman.
Yeah.
And he's actually on an allowance with Maud. We come to realize that the Maud's actually paying him an allowance.
Yeah.
And he gives his wife an allowance from that allowance.
Yeah.
So he's not a very tough, successful businessman. Again, going to the masculinity thing we're talking about. And so, fucker, lost train of thought again. This is a dude ass episode.
No, I feel like we're doing okay.
No. I'm saying laid back, chill, forgetting what we're saying.
Oh yeah.
Going on tangents.
Yeah.
So the complex story, it's like, he's trying to embezzle the money to like save himself. And so this is this whole complex thing happening. And then Maud, there's even a big theory about it being more complex where Maud is actually the one that's been orchestrating the entire thing. Like she sent Bunny on vacation. She hired the nihilist to do this. She's trying to maneuver the thing so that way her father can't embezzle the money and she can keep it all safe and she's in control of everything. So if that's true, that really dives into that masculinity and femininity kind of theme throughout there, where the women are kind of controlling what's happening with all these weak men.
Yeah.
So again, complex story with just the dude.
It's so close to just like, you're just on the outskirts of like this insane story.
Yeah.
Like you're so close. You can just go reach out and touch it if you want to.
Yep. It's all there, but the dude just isn't involved. He doesn't care to attach himself to this meaning and everything. The opening shot's beautiful because it symbolizes who the dude is, because it shows that tumbleweed as you hear Sam Elliott, who is a very masculine man. The most masculine movie star of all time, Sam Elliott. The most badass dude there is in the movies.
Fresh off a Tombstone in this. Or like, I mean, Tombstone's still in people's heads in the 90s. Sure. So it's hilarious to get Sam Elliott dressed as a cowboy in full, Western mannerisms. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah.
So,
love it.
So you hear Sam Elliott talking about the dude, and you see this tumbleweed just kind of rolling through the city. A tumbleweed just goes with the flow, just like the dude does. So the tumbleweed is the dude. The wind blows a tumbleweed wherever it goes. And so the dude in the whole movie is that tumbleweed who is just getting blown through the wind, and he keeps getting put in these like weird, complex situations because the wind, the people in the movie, are taking him on this journey of this wild ride, and he's just going with it.
Yeah.
So it's just cool symbolism there. Like the dude's just the tumbleweed. And again, he has no business being involved in any of these circumstances. He's the most incompetent man because, again, what we were saying, he can't communicate with his friends. Whenever he's with the Big Lebowski for the first time, he's trying to explain what's happening, just getting pushed around and can't really get a word out with what he's saying. He can't even express his intention.
I feel like the dude, he's just so unmotivated in every aspect of his life that he can't even come up with original thoughts. I feel like throughout the movie, you hear him just repeating things that he's heard other people say.
Yeah, he does do that a few times.
Yeah, like the one that I can remember off the top of my head is the Big Lebowski having his assistant tell him that like her life is in your hands. Her life is in your hands. And he's like, stop saying that to me.
Don't say that.
Yeah, don't say that. But
come on. He's like, come on, man. Don't say that.
Yeah.
Her life is in your hands.
Don't say.
Mr. Lebowski asked me to repeat that. Her life is in your hands.
But then when he's with Walter, and I think this is after they've realized, this is after the dude has realized that she might have not kidnapped herself.
Right. Yeah, he's worried about it.
He's like trying to figure out like how to explain himself to Walter. He's like, her life was in my hands. You know?
You fucked it up. Her life was in our hands, man.
Yeah. But so all the characters, like talking about the wind, all the characters are that wind because Walter is trying to force upon the dude all of his scheming. Like Walter's always trying to scheme something.
Yeah. Walter's trying to get that money.
Yeah. He's trying to just do some type of play with this thing. And the dude just wants to get it over with and just follow the rules. Like, doesn't matter. Maud is trying to get him to, help her receive the money again. And so she's forcing him into this play. The Big Lebowski's forcing him into these plays where he's, needs him to go get Bunny, do the drop off for whatever reason they pick the dude to do it. And then it's really funny
because he's not a threat. There's something to be said for recognizing that when a person clearly doesn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
So that they're just going to do the job because they don't want any trouble.
And they're also probably trying to use him because they know he's incompetent. And because they're doing a bunch of fictional things, they're trying to do this whole scheme. Maud and the Big Lebowski have their both big schemes going on. So they use the dude knowing that if he fucks up, that's okay because we can just blame it on him.
Yeah.
And, hopefully it'll go over well because he's incompetent. But it's really funny whenever the detective who's been following the dude for a good part of the movie, when he finally gets revealed, just going into the dude and his philosophy. It's so funny seeing the detective trying to talk to the dude as if he's a colleague of his, because the dude couldn't give two shits about whatever the detective is about to do. And so he's like, maybe we can work together and solve this case. Me and you, we can do it. And the dude's like, whatever, man. I'm going bowling. So it's just the detective thinks he's found a man because again, the dude's been put in this complex situation. So he's found out things just on his own accord by just floating through the scenes. And so the detective, who's, not a very masculine man, he's not competent. He clearly can't figure out the shit with Bunny when it's probably very easy to find where Bunny is if you're a good detective. She never got kidnapped. So,
well, the movie kind of shows that whenever she's just driving around through town, she's out there. She's not trying to hide.
No, she's never got kidnapped. She's having a blast.
Yeah.
Having all of her toes. And so, the detective trying to talk to the dude as if it's like a colleague of his. It's just hilarious because you just know the dude has no interest in helping this guy.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, what? I'm not a detective. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So that's just hilarious. The dude just flowing through life and this complex story takes him on this wild journey despite him having no reason to be involved or engaged or no really will to want to be engaged in this story.
And then he proves that again with the nihilist burning his car. And just saying, we have the girl, you've seen her toe, that we have her, we'll kill her. And he finally says, you know what? I don't, first off, I don't think you have the girl, but even if you do, I really don't care anymore.
No, he says, you don't have to, because they know at this point that the girl is safe. The dudes has found out that, because they see her drive away. There's something, sorry, I don't know this, I don't remember specifically, but in this scene, they do know that the girl's safe. She never was kidnapped. They understand this at this point. So that's why he's like, you don't have the fucking girl.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like, shut up.
Yeah.
We know. So stop trying to get money from us.
Yeah. And also why I would just be so frustrated, as the dude at that point, because clearly I am not the one with the money. What makes you think I'm the rich guy? Why do y'all keep involving me? You made a mistake the first time. Just in general, whoever started this whole thing, made a mistake. Clearly, all you got to do is follow me for a day to realize that I bowl and I smoke weed and drink White Russians. And that's it.
All day.
That's all I do. How could you possibly think that I am motivated enough to meet your demands? Yeah. And so I'm a big fan of that.
Honestly, my favorite character is Brandt. That's the Big Lebowski's assistant.
Uh-huh.
I laugh so hard watching him in the background of things.
You did point out the movements he was
Let's just go to
in the
this one.
background.
I'll explain this and we'll pull up this hilarious scene of Philip Seymour Hoffman. But that's
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. But so because Brandt and the Big Lebowski are the complete opposites of who the dude is in different versions. The dude, again, is not he's not ambitious. He's not chasing anything. He's just literally taking it easy. That's his entire philosophy. But the Big Lebowski is always trying to force things and trying to manipulate situations and no matter what, I'm going to fucking make it work. He's going to force his will into the world to make himself successful. And he has gotten successful by doing that, forcing his will. And then Brandt is the opposite of the dude in the sense that he is trying to be this person and make his job seem important. You notice that the entire movie, how he makes everything so dramatic. Mm-hmm. And you can just tell, the dude, he's trying to show the dude how important the Big Lebowski is in the work that he does. So the way Brandt acts is just always just so important. And he's always faking, it looks like, his emotions and what he feels about the situations. Because the dude is just so much not that. But this scene with Brandt, whenever he takes the dude into the house, actually, it's not that one. It's the next one. It's
whenever he gives him the letter.
Yeah, the ransom letter. Yeah.
Are you surprised at my tears, sir?
Oh, fucking A.
Strong men also cry.
He goes to Brandt, pretending to cry. He's like, "Oh God, this is a great speech, sir."
I received this fax this morning.
Watch Brandt here.
As you can see, it is a ransom note.
He's so serious, like he's a soldier. You know what I mean? And when he's showing off all the awards, he's like,
he's RoboCop right there. Just like letter dropped off, waiting for him to read letter.
Yes. And every time he opens or closes the door to this grand, whatever room this is,
yeah,
he opens it so dramatically. Like it's like he's standing there and just like opens it so dramatically. So it's Brandt is just so funny because he's the complete opposite of the dude, because he's trying to believe the things that the Big Lebowski are saying are important when the dude could give fucking two shits about what's happening.
Yeah.
Couldn't give two shits. It's hilarious.
You know what's interesting to me though is like as far as the dude goes, I get it, he's laid back and all this, but I feel like when he's around strangers, you see him way more the dude than when he's with his buddies at the bowling alley, which is kind of interesting. I feel like it's because, and yeah, like the reason for that being is because he doesn't really care about any of this. And so he's just more like in the mode of like, all right, I'm going with the flow. But when he's bowling, he's familiar with it. He actually kind of gives a shit about bowling, even though we never see him bowl. You know, he keeps going back, keeps talking about like, I'll be there for practice, you know, that whole thing. So you actually, that's when you see him like really riled up. But I mean, that also like kind of just goes to show like he doesn't not care about anything. Like he clearly loves his friends. He keeps going back to them, even though they just keep pissing him off. But then, you know, when he's getting thrown into cars, when people are breaking into his house, he's just kind of like, hey, stop. Oh, don't do that.
This is a private residence.
Yeah.
When he's in the bathtub when they're beating his shit.
Yeah. Literally any other character would, you know, either go attack or go lock the door, try and escape.
Yeah.
But he's just sitting there watching strangers piss on his rug. And sure, he's a little upset about it. And he's just like, hey, come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just something I noticed like during the movie. Like the only times you really actually see him stressed out is when he's with Walter.
Yeah, it's whenever he's being forced to not take it easy because he has to take action on things. That's when he's like, I don't want, like, that's when he gets frustrated, when he has to take action on things.
Yeah.
As opposed to just going with the flow and letting things happen.
Yeah.
But going with it being a deep story, there's one theory out there that says that the Big Lebowski is basically Alice in Wonderland. It's a retelling of Alice in Wonderland. And there are some pretty strange parallels to Alice in Wonderland and this movie. Some of them are, the movie starts off in Alice in Wonderland where she's like sitting in a tree before she falls in the rabbit hole, and she's just kind of bored chilling. She has like really no responsibility. She's actually getting a history lesson by some lady, and so she's just kind of bored and has no real responsibility, no feel for responsibility in her life. And the dude is the same. He really has no responsibility in his life at the beginning of the movie. And then Alice falls down a rabbit hole, and one parallel could be the dude falls in the rabbit hole, or not a rabbit hole, but he falls. His story takes place when he gets dumped into a hole, right? The toilet bowl. That's kind of that symbolism there. Or it could also be whenever he has that dream. I think after he's drugged a bowling ball, kind of like he falls in the hole of the bowling ball.
Was it after he was drugged, or was it when he was knocked out?
And he's like kind of flying through the city.
Okay.
That bowling ball rolls over him, and he like gets straight, and then the bowling ball encapsulates him, and then he's stuck in the hole, so you see the POV from the bowling ball. So like that's kind of him falling in the hole. That could also be another tie to that. Alice chases the white rabbit in Wonderland, and who does the dude chase?
The bunny.
Bunny.
There we go.
And her license plate says Lapin, which is French for rabbit. And
Nice.
she's a white girl, so the white rabbit.
There you go.
Bunny.
Nice.
The little, well, she's not a snow bunny, but can't make that one. Never mind. It would have been funny. So there's another symbolism there. The bunny. Alice finds a gold key in the movie. For whatever reason, in the movie, Brandt shows the Big Lebowski the giant golden key to the city of Pasadena. There's a little tie in there with the gold key. That's pretty evident. The two bad guys that first come and fight the dude, the ones that throw him in the toilet bowl, and the ones that pee on his rug, that's like Tweedledee and Tweedledum in Alice in Wonderland. Two dumbasses that are just, in Wonderland. Walter and Donny are in Alice in Wonderland. There's two characters called the Walrus and the Contractor, or is it Contractor? No, it's Carpenter. The Walrus and the Carpenter. And so the Walrus is obviously a big guy who's scheming, same as Walter. He's a big guy who's scheming. The Carpenter in Alice in Wonderland is a skinny guy who kind of doesn't know what's going on. He's never really on page. Same with Donny. Donny's never really on page, and they're also kind of friends of Alice, so like that kind of ties in there. Maud is the symbol. Maud ties into the Red Queen, which would make sense with that theory we were talking about earlier, where if Maud is the one that's scheming the entire thing, that ties back closer to the Red Queen who's trying to scheme. The Red Queen is she's always saying like off with their heads. Like she's so focused on like decapitating people. Maud talks a lot about chopping people's dicks off and castrating men. So like castrating as opposed to decapitating.
Yeah.
Jackie Treehorn is the Mad Hatter. Porn guy, eccentric, has his weird like kind of party. So he's like a Mad Hatter type character.
Yeah.
If Maud was the one that was scheming the whole thing, that means she hired the Nihilists. So the Nihilists are the henchmen, the Red Queen's henchmen, which are those like playing cards that like dance around in Alice in Wonderland. And so there's kind of a similar shot to that whenever the dude is drugged and dreaming and he sees the Nihilist with the scissors, like talking about chopping off his Johnson.
Creepy. Yeah, that part was creepy.
So
creepy.
They're dressed in red, similar to how the cards are mostly red cards, like with the, with the hearts and the diamonds, right? And so that ties in there. So again, like if it is close, if it is trying to be like a story in Alice in Wonderland, that would then confirm the thing that Maud is probably the one that orchestrated the entire operation. Which again doesn't really make any difference in the movie, but it's just like, again, they potentially are tying these deep themes in this movie because it just perfectly contrasts the dude's belief system. So it's taking the plot and contradicting it with who the dude is, and just like to show that contrast of how different, or to show the contrast to really show the dude's belief system and who this man is as a character. Yeah. But it's interesting that they have all these tie-ins. Some could be a stretch, but again, like there's some pretty odd things there's too many examples that kind of tie into Alice in Wonderland where it's like, damn, were they trying to do that? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just kind of rolling with it like the dude right there. I've never seen Alice in Wonderland in my life.
No?
No. But, I mean...
What about the new one with Johnny Depp?
No.
Never?
No, never. I think I was too scared. or too old, or both. It's like I'm too old to be getting scared by a children's movie like this.
Yeah.
But, yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Are we ready to rate it?
Here, I got one more thing.
Okay.
So just some fun facts with the Big Lebowski, some things you may have missed. The coffee shop that they are sitting in with Walter, whenever Walter screams at the waitress, and after he outbursts and the dude leaves, he sits there and he's like, I'm staying, enjoying my coffee in the coffee shop.
Yeah.
That coffee shop is actually not a real coffee shop. It's actually pretty famous in LA because it's only rented out to productions. Reservoir Dogs was shot there.
Oh, nice.
The Sean Kingston Beautiful Girls music video was shot there.
That's out there.
American History X, a scene was shot in there. There's a ton of examples in Hollywood. Oh, yeah. There's a ton of examples in Hollywood where they've used that coffee shop. So this is an iconic coffee shop. Just a cool little fun fact about where they shot it. The movie
there have been some major scenes shot in that coffee shop.
Yes.
In iconic films. And then here's Walter just refusing to leave.
Yep. The movie used the F word more than Scarface.
Wow. That's pretty surprising.
That's a feat.
I think it's just because they're saying it so much, so casually.
Yep.
Whereas in Scarface, like, you feel every F-bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're typically pretty pissed off, or like that F-bomb is to like just show emotion,
mm-hmm.
where the dude is just saying it 5 times in a sentence because he really can't come up with many original sentences.
Right. They say the word man nearly every 1.5 minutes in the movie.
That one makes sense.
Yeah.
That one makes a lot of sense.
Really weird coincidence. This was not planned because the movie came out before this event, But whenever the dude is checking out of the grocery store and he writes a check for 69 cents for the half and half.
Yes.
The date on the check is 9/11. And he looks up and he sees George Bush Sr. speaking out against Saddam Hussein, the Iraqi president at the time.
Whoa.
So that's just like a really strange coincidence where like the check says 9/11, September 11th, 10 years before 9/11 happened. And it's just that like maybe they didn't plan for it.
Maybe it's a coincidence to you, but I'm onto something bigger here.
The Hollywood conspiracy.
Oh yeah. Symbolism, bro. You said it's sprinkled in this movie.
Yep.
There you go.
You would assume with the way that Jeff Bridges delivers the lines that he would be improvising a lot of these things and every take would be different, but no improvisation was in the movie except for one line. Everything else was scripted. All the mans, all the fucks, everything, all the cadence.
That's ridiculous.
All in the script. They said it verbatim, how they wrote it. The only line in the movie that was picked from improvisation that made the final shot was whenever the dude calls the Big Lebowski a human paraquat.
You human paraquat?
Or something. Paraquat. Okay. Anyway, they thought that was funny, so they left that in the movie. So, but everything else was scripted, in the script, which is pretty crazy.
That is insane.
We said this earlier.
They have shut the fuck up, Donny, in there so many times.
Yeah. The dude was never shown bowling. We mentioned that one. A lot of the dude's clothes were actually just Jeff Bridges' clothes.
It makes sense. Yeah, I saw like a couple interviews that he did like after this movie, like years after this movie, and he just looks the same as that character.
Yeah,
as the dude.
Right.
Like he is just always rocking that long hair and that big goatee.
Well, they said it was so easy to work with Jeff Bridges in this movie because first, when Jeff Bridges read the script, he asked Ethan and Joel Coen. He's like, "Did y'all know me in high school? Is this where y'all wrote me as? Because like this is literally me. Like, this is who I am." And so whenever they were shooting, the only direction they would give him, and this is what Jeff Bridges would come up to him with, he would say, "Hey, do you think the dude, smoked before this or not?" So they would say yes or no, and he would just rub his eyes and then go and act.
Yeah.
So there's really no direction because he just killed it every single take. Like he just knew exactly who to play this man as. So like the only question they would ever tell him is, did he smoke before this or not? Yeah. And that would affect his performance. And he would just go. And they'd be like, great, we got it.
I did see, there was one interview that he did. I think it was either on Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel. I can't remember which one. But he was talking about like, because he was married and had kids, daughters, I think, while he was making this movie. And at one point, he was like, yeah, y'all should like come hang out on set. Just come see like what we're working on, whatever. And the one day that he invites them out is the day that they're shooting the trippy scene where he's like going on the bowling alley and he's looking up all the women's skirts.
Yeah.
And so whenever he like told everybody like, yeah, I'm bringing my family to set today. I don't know if it was the Coen Brothers or somebody else that was like kind of high up there, but they were like, Jeff, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like this is literally the one day that they should probably not come.
Yeah.
And he was like, nah, man, it's cool. Like it's all good. Like just total the dude fashion. And they did. They showed up and watched him do it.
That's hilarious.
And the interviewer, one of the Jimmy talk show hosts was like, well, what did they think? He was like, pretty cool with it. I mean, funny.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God, this guy wasn't acting at all.
No, he is the dude.
Yeah.
And then in an early draft, you're kind of curious of if the dude's unemployed, how is he able to afford his lifestyle? It's a pretty cheap lifestyle, but still he has to be getting money in some way. So in an early draft, the dude is the heir to the man that invented the Rubik's Cube. They had that in the script. So he was just living off of the Rubik's Cube money. That's how he was able to live this dude life.
That is so funny.
But they decided to take it out later and just not explain how he does it, just to,
Yeah, because it made sense to me because clearly he's in LA. And I was just like, all right, he's a trust fund baby. And he's just, he's living cheap. So he makes sure he never has to work a day in his life. Mm-hmm. He's okay with the simple things. But I love the idea that he's the heir of the man that created the Rubik's Cube, because you would assume that if that were the case, he would know how to solve a Rubik's Cube.
Right.
But we just know.
He never even tried.
He never even tried. He twisted it a couple times and then he looked at someone and he was like, wow, fuck this.
Far out, man. Yeah.
Like looked at it and he's like, man, that looks cool. And somebody was like, no, you have to get them all on the same side. He's like, sure, man.
Yeah.
You go for it. Have fun with that.
Yeah. And then
that is so funny.
You might not have seen this, but in the coffee shop scene we were talking about earlier, whenever the dude leaves, like, I'm out of here, man. And he pays for his coffee. Mm-hmm. He drops all the coins out of his pocket and a joint drops down. Nice. And he grabs it and puts it in his pocket.
Perfect.
So just like, accidentally comes out this joint and he grabs it and puts it back in his pocket when he walks out. So it's just funny little detail there.
Yeah. I think it's interesting too, like kind of on that, like he's out here just drinking and driving as if it's not super, super illegal to do that in the 90s.
Oh, well, is that when it takes place? Like the movie time?
The movie? Yeah, it's taking place in like the 90s.
Yeah, late 1990s.
Or early 1990s. Or wait.
I said 1991.
Okay. Well, anyways, yeah. But he's driving around smoking weed and drinking beers if he's still in like the 60s, 50s. I don't know, like when drinking and driving was relaxed. Mm-hmm. But I know that for sure in the 90s, you couldn't just do that. Like if you got pulled over for drinking and driving, that was a big time offense. And he's just doing it during the day.
Yep.
Because he doesn't care.
Nope. Going with the flow.
Yeah. Going with the flow.
You gonna rate this bad boy?
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right, listeners, rate along with us. We have 5 categories: acting, writing, editing, cinematography, and enjoyability, all out of 10. You add those up, divide it by 5, and that is your final score for The Big Lebowski. So do it with us while we knock this out. All right, Gray, what you got?
For total, I got an 8 out of 10.
Nice.
And for the acting, I think it's 10 out of 10. I think everybody that's on the screen just crushes it, nails the character. I think exactly what the Coen Brothers had intended when they were writing this.
Yep.
The writing is 9 out of 10. You could make the argument that it's 10 out of 10 based on what you told me about the improvisation. I think that's insane.
Yeah.
That all of this was just in the script. But yeah, very, very good. Editing 7 out of 10. I think that's just because of the flow of the movie in general.
Sure.
This is all just kind of slow and out there, and I don't think there's really supposed to be a specific pace for this movie.
I started to realize we need to give 10s to movies that are like a 10 is like noteworthy. It's like, dude, no, this is a movie you should study with the editing. So like a 7 is still a very solid editing score. It's like, no, it was great. It just wasn't anything that's like,
but
like
this movie
our favorite of all time.
This movie is just so different because that's like kind of the point is like, there's not really supposed to be a pace that just, cinematography, Roger Deakins, obviously like very talented, but I think with what he was given, he did the best he could. It's still 7 out of 10.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like a Denis Villeneuve breaking down the scene where we're like, holy fuck, every single shot has insane intention and subtext.
It's kind of just a mundane movie.
Yeah, it's just solid.
That's just reflecting the dude.
It's just well
just
done.
in general.
Yeah, it's just well done. It's not like it's super, super deep. It's just well done.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
So enjoyability, I give it a 7 out of 10. Like, it's funny. It's a funny movie. It's kind of like, this movie is pretty much like a big prank,
Yeah.
If I were to show this to somebody, this movie has started religions. This has changed lives, that whole thing. And then you show somebody and it cause it got me, it got me when Sam Elliott started delivering that monologue at the end. It starts to dawn on you like, holy shit, like this movie really went nowhere.
Yeah. I remember you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, like nothing's happening. So it's funny, but just realistically, you typically watch a movie, you read a book for the sake of a story.
Right.
Like something, a conflict being resolved. And this movie, while genius, didn't do it and did the best it could, but I still think the best that you could do is a 7 out of 10.
Yeah. I have 9 out of 10. Total score here. I have acting as a 10, writing as a 10, editing 8 out of 10. It's great. It's just not like the greatest ever.
That's the thing. Yeah, 7 out of 10. It's still good.
Yeah,
it's solid. Yeah.
Cinematography is 8 out of 10. It's incredible. Enjoyability 9 out of 10. I love this movie, but it's not like my favorite of all time. My favorite of all times get 10 enjoyability.
Yeah.
This one got a 9. So total 9 out of 10 for The Big Lebowski.
The dude abides.
Dude abides. All right, you got any final thoughts?
The dude abides.
You
know what? Actually, I like White Russians.
They are delicious.
That delicious drink.
Yeah.
I had about 8 of them. I might have had about 10 of them last night.
Just constant. You were the dude last night.
I was the dude.
Robe.
I was the dude. Dude, I just gotten back from a huge work week. This is my only day off for like a while. So yeah, White Russians.
My final thought is going to be this. Sam Elliott says this awesome line towards the end of the movie.
This is a dude final thought that you're having right here. It's not even your own. Nope. I like that. I like that a lot.
Well, man.
Fucking, you get it?
It's just, I don't know. It's good, man. Fuck.
Your movie continues uninterrupted
3 minutes.
After this break.
No way.
All right, I'm gonna see if I can go on YouTube.
Yeah. Damn, that is something that I'm just not realizing. Like it's not so much. He does have oh my God, I'm butchering this. He clearly doesn't want to have original thoughts. He doesn't want to speak them out. And so when he's just rambling on, he's frustrated because he's just waiting for the characters that seem to give a shit to just go ahead and finish the thought for him.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, fucking, and he's like, oh my God, you actually care. Why don't you figure out what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah, that's good.
A wiser fellow than myself once said, sometimes you eat the bar and sometimes the bar, well, he eats you.
That some kind of Eastern thing?
Far from it.
That right there, I love that. Because he's obviously the Western cowboy
he's the
guy.
Wild, Wild West.
So he says sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you. Is that like an Easter thing? Far from it. I just love that. Because Sam Elliott's almost, my final thought I guess is Sam Elliott's almost like this mythical creature in the movie because he just appears out of nowhere in the scene. Mm-hmm. But he's this masculine man, but again, the cowboy's kind of, sort of Sam Elliott's character here kind of goes with the flow too, like a tumbleweed, just going from town to town, figuring out what he can do, taking it sort of easy. I guess, yeah, he is supposed to be, I don't know, a similar character to the dude. Because the only thing he complains about the dude is do you have to cuss so much? Yeah. And then dude's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah. Have it your way, dude. Yep. So he just kind of respects the dude being who he is and himself. Yeah. And so Sam Elliott's character is just this mythical creature. And I think at this scene, I think he it's almost like the midpoint for the dude where he kind of reminds him who he is. Mm-hmm. And hey man, take it easy. So it's kind of I will. Kind of give him a little bit of life lessons. Hey, remember who you are, dude. Yeah. You live just right. He's good thing there's, because he has that monologue at the end where he's it's good knowing guys like him are out here taking it easy for the rest of us sinners.
It's good knowing he's out there, the dude, taking her easy for all us sinners.
Yeah. So Sam Elliott's pretty cool character in this movie. Yeah, very cool cameo to get him. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But again, all right, great movie. Big Lebowski. Cult classic. The dude abides. Do we become dudist priest? I'd have to get a wig. No, man. You can be whoever you want. That's right. Yeah. Go with the flow. If you like it bald, keep it bald, buddy. Like it bald. I'm about to go bowling. That's what I'm about to do today. So, and one more thought. It's also kind of funny that bowling is their key things. It's kind of the lamest sport to be invested in. Is it? I like bowling. I like bowling too, but I'm saying joining a league. Oh, it's the least athletic. Yeah. You need the least, basically the least amount of effort in the game. You're just rolling a ball down a thing and the ball comes right back to you. Yeah. So you don't have to go retrieve the ball. Yeah. It's kind of times. It's all indoors. It's kind of just a chill sport to be involved in. It's not a very manly sport, I guess. Yeah. At least with golf, you're outside, you're having to walk a lot, because a lot of people be oh, with golfing, you can get hammered and play. I was yeah, but you're still outside getting vitamin D, touching grass. And bowling, you're getting hammered and there's just minimal moving. In fact, you're sitting down. Most of the time. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Comment below your thoughts on The Big Lebowski. Let us know if there's anything you missed. Let us know if there's anything that we missed that you guys caught. Let us know if you are one of the Lebowski fans, if you're a dudist. And we'll see y'all next week. The dude abides, and we're out.
Trying to buy my next meal. Seems all I do is drive. And when the boss man sends my next check in the mail, I'll have enough for closing time. And I've been cussing like a sailor since I ran out of weed. My tank is running dry, so I'll head on down to the railroad track and tell that man I need a ride. He says you're just in luck, 'cause there's one more seat. There's just one more thing before you proceed. Just throw me a $5 and we'll call it a deal.